Here's three price scenarios that I have on my mind when it comes to Kadena's native cryptocurrency called KDA, and even though nothing I say is financial advice, this is all maybe even assuming if we ever do see a fully fledged type of altcoin season during this cycle, but again, only time will tell, but nonetheless, these are the scenarios that I do want to take a look at. First of all, it is maybe the idea of KDA at the price of $8. Now that's nearly a 23x from here, and market cap at that point, considering current circulating supply, would be around 2.6 billion. Now, why wouldn't this surprise me? It's because I do like the fundamentals of Kadena. The way I take a look at it is that arguably I think Kadena is a very sound, in terms of fundamentals as a layer one blockchain. The founders of Kadena is Will Martino and Stuart Popejoy. Now we have to take a look at their track record, right? What they did historically speaking. We've seen that, for instance, Will Martino and Stuart Popejoy, they both actually helped build JP Morgan's first ever blockchain. However, it's more so popularly, kind of known as, I would arguably say, as JPM coin. So when I take a look at something like that, that is pretty impressive. Not to mention, I take a look at, allegedly, one of the members of their advisory team is Dr. Stuart Haber. Now, why is this, I think, a big deal? Dr. Stuart Haber, keep in mind, is the most cited author, supposedly, in Satoshi Nakamoto's Bitcoin white paper. So, again, that's very impressive. Not to mention, we take a look at how he is the co-inventor of blockchain. Now, let's just let that sink in. The co-inventor of blockchain, allegedly in Kadena's advisory team, or should I say a member of that, right? That is very impressive. Now, I think the main complaint, despite all that, though, is that some people may be thinking, okay, Pact, right? Now, Pact is spelled P-A-C-T, and if we take a look at that, what is it? It is the programming language used in Kadena smart contracts. Now, why would some people may complain about this? Some people may be wondering, right? It's because, allegedly, I've seen how some people say, oh, it's complicated, it's not that easy to use and all this type of stuff. Well, to me, the way you take a look at it is that if, let's say, a developer actually wants to build something, let's say on Kadena or something like that, I highly doubt that individuals who are trained, right, who actually have expertise, would find something like that difficult. Maybe it's not popular because, of course, Kadena is not really such a massive layer one blockchain, for instance, right? So I get that argument. Like if someone said that Kadena isn't massive, I'll agree with that. And how can it, right? If we take a look at KDA, current market cap is like around $100 million. It's not like Kadena's the biggest thing of all time or anywhere even close to it. But again, if someone says that Pact is, complicated and then it's because of that developers won't really want to go towards Kadena, again, the way to take a look at it is that, the people who can actually do this type of stuff, that are trained, that have experience, I would highly doubt that they would find it difficult. And I don't think this is just for, just in the case of this. I'm saying, if let's say a developer is well trained, I think even if, let's say Solana, Ethereum, and anything like that, I don't think they would find that arguably that difficult, but this is just the way to take a look at it. So overall, I think when I take a look at Kadena, I'm a fan of its fundamentals, and I get it, there are many layer one blockchains out there, but I don't think it's just necessarily one layer one blockchain and the rest don't really do anything. Like, for instance, we have Ethereum, of course, right? Very popular layer one blockchain, but there's also Solana. For instance, I could name a lot more, but I'm just saying. There's, not only just one kind of there and then the rest aren't doing anything. Like, Solana's pretty massive, right? Ethereum's also massive, so the way I view it is that it's not just one thing, and I think each layer one blockchain is going to have its own fans, its own kind of sort of following. It's like, for instance, there's many car brands out there, but there isn't only just one that people use, right? There's a lot. So when I take a look at something like Kadena, I'm a fan again of its fundamentals, and KDA arguably at the price of $8 wouldn't surprise me in an event where maybe, let's say, there's a fully fledged type of altcoin season. Now, the second scenario I want to take a look at is maybe the idea of $9 when it comes to KDA. That's nearly a $3 billion market cap considering current circulating supply, and that is nearly a 26x from here. Why wouldn't that surprise me? It's because when I take a look at that market cap right there, we've seen Shiba Inu pretty much over 10x that back in 2021. And I'm not necessarily saying that this is ever going to come close to something like a Shiba Inu in terms of popularity, but that was back in 2021, years ago. So to me, this market cap doesn't seem that ridiculous. Now, if the market cap needed to hypothetically reach the price of $9 was like 100 billion, I mean, whoa. Like even at that point, I would not even kind of entertain that belief inside my mind. But then, this doesn't seem like too outlandish, but this is just my mindset. Now, $10 when it comes to KDA would be around a 28.5x from here, and market cap considering current circulating supply would be around 3.3 billion. The way I take a look at it is that even though arguably we haven't seen a fully fledged type of altcoin season yet during this cycle, I feel like if maybe there is one, it wouldn't surprise me if it looked better than back in 2021. The reason is because back then, at the peak of that bull run, there was around 300 million crypto owners. Now, there's supposedly over 600 million. And we have this supposedly, right? Without ever seeing like Bitcoin at 200 grand or 250 or 300, we haven't seen Ethereum at 10 grand. And arguably, again, we haven't seen a fully fledged type of altcoin season, maybe during this cycle. And we already have supposedly more crypto owners than ever before in history. So if, let's say, the factors did look better, would there be maybe around 700 million at that point? Like, who knows, right? That wouldn't surprise me, though. So when I take a look at that, just because of the new amount of crypto owners, and also I take a look at, the hype surrounding the Bitcoin ETF, despite the pullback, though, of Bitcoin, I'm still, kind of in this mindset where if, let's say, the market does pick up, that could be a big factor as well in terms of creating a positive vibe. When I kind of consider all that, KDA may be at the price of $10, it wouldn't necessarily surprise me. However, some people may be wondering, okay, what time frame am I looking at? Now, when it comes to that, I am not necessarily saying that I would know the perfect moment because I don't think I'll find the perfect moment. All I can do is prepare for a moment, which is why I'm dollar cost averaging, holding, and just waiting. But nonetheless, I can take a look back in history, I feel like, and maybe take a look at some clues, even though it may be different this time around. Like, historically speaking, altcoins, they usually peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event, and this is as a worst case scenario, again, usually. So 18 months from the last Bitcoin halving event back in April of last year would mean October this year. It doesn't mean it's going to happen at that time, but to me, if let's say it happened in November, December, maybe sometime in early 2026, it wouldn't surprise me if it ever even does. But whenever that is, it's going to be beyond my control, which is why I'm staying patient, dollar cost averaging, holding, and just waiting. That's it. I treat it like a marathon. It's not a sprint to me, and it's all just a waiting game. At least that's the way I take a look at it personally in my perspective, but I'm not speaking on anyone's behalf. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Greatly appreciate it. It's only the captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.